Bloody ridiculous that, isn't it, eh? Bloody ridiculous that. It's the last time I buy a suit at the flea market. That is. No, it's ridiculous. There was a big sign, it said 25% off all trousers. I meant the bloody price. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had thousands of requests from one or two people. Mainly actually was Ian Peters who requested it 3 times. It almost counts, doesn't it? And this is for a number which I haven't done the musical for many, many years. It's been like 12 years since we last did it. And people often say to me, why don't you do it? And I answer truthfully. Can't remember it. you know, when you get to my age, approaching 40. No need to be like that. It does become difficult. David and I, Linton, have worked tirelessly, endlessly, denying ourselves the necessities of life. During the last 3 months, we would have spent 15 minutes, would we, actually, on this? At least, yes, to get it right for you for tonight. And we hope for those who enjoyed it. It belongs to Mr. Stanley Holloway, one of the great stars of the music hall. And of course, eventually went to Hollywood and starred in such wonderful movies as My Fair Lady. Before that, he did what are called monologues. And this is his most famous monologue, so for those of you who've heard it before, I hope you'll enjoy it again. For those of you who haven't heard it, more than 50 years ago it was written for Stanley Holloway, and I think it's as funny today as the day that it was written for him. It's called Albert and the Lion. It goes like this. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun. And Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with young Albert, their son. A fine young lad was young Albert, dressed in his best, quite a swell, with his stick, with his horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. They didn't think much of the ocean, the waves they were fiddling and small. No wrecks or nobody drowned. In fact, nothing to laugh at all. So, seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo, where they'd lions and tigers and camels, and old ale and sandwiches too. There were one great big lion called Wallace, whose nose was all covered with scars, as he lay in a somnolent posture, with the side of his head on the bars. Now Albert had heard about lions, how they were ferocious and wild, and to see Wallace lying there so peaceful, well, it didn't seem right to a child. So straightway the brave little fella, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with his horse's head handle and poked it in Wallace's ear. You could see the lion didn't like it. For giving a kind of a roll, he pulled Albert inside the cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole. Now Pa, who had seen the occurrence and didn't know what to do next, said, "Ma, yon lion's at Albert." And Ma said, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly when all said and done, complained to the animal keeper that the lion had eaten their son. The keeper was quite nice about it. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure it's your son that is eaten?" And they proved it by showing his cap. The manager had to be sent for. He came and he said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Yon lion's at Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Ma said, "Right's right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin that the lion should go and eat Albert, and after we've paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away. He said how much to settle the matter. Pa said, "What do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought where her Albert had gone. She said, "No, somebody's got to be summoned." So that was decided upon. Off they went to the police station in front of the magistrate chap. They told him how Lionel Talbot and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he hoped that the Ramsbottoms would add further sons to their name. At that mother got proper blazing. "Thank you, sir, kindly," said she. "Waste all our life raising children to feed bloody lions? Not me."